Okay, so there's this literary pattern that shows up all over the Torah called a chiasm. It's basically when a story mirrors itself, and when you spot one, it's the Torah's way of telling you, pay attention to what's at the center. And the binding of Isaac has one of the most heartbreaking chiasms I've ever seen. Let me show you how to spot it. So Abraham takes the wood for the offering and places it on his son Isaac. So imagine we have Isaac carrying tied up wood on his back up the mountain. Then we get this phrase, "Ve'elchu shneim yachdav," and the two of them walk together. Now, just a couple verses later, the exact same phrase appears again, "Ve'elchu shneim yachdav." That repetition, that's your clue that you may be looking at a chiasm. And then look at what happens at the end. Abraham lays out the wood, ties up Isaac, and places him on top of the wood. This story is a perfect mirror. First, tied up wood on Isaac. Let's call that element A. Then, "Vayelchu shneim yachdav." That's element B. Again, "Vayelchu shneim yachdav." That's B again. And finally, tied up Isaac on wood. There you have it, element A once again. A, B, B, A. This is a chiasm. And you know what's beautiful about this structure? The whole point is to draw your eye to the center of the chiasm, what we might call element C. Everything mirrors around it, like the text is holding up a huge sign saying this is what the story is really all about. So what's in the middle of this chiasm? A conversation between Abraham and Isaac. By the way, this is the only conversation between Abraham and Isaac recorded in the entire Torah. And if you're curious about what happens in that conversation, be sure to check out my earlier video. The Torah could have told this story 100 different ways, but it chose to structure it just like this. And what I love about that is that when we think about Torah commentary, we usually think about the great commentators like Rashi or the Ramban, people who came later on to explain what the text means. But what if sometimes the Torah itself is its own commentary? What if the way the text is structured, the patterns, the repetitions, the mirroring, what if all that is the Torah's way of embedding interpretation right within the text itself?